Sai Ram, everyone. We will start the circle with 3 Omkarams. Sai Ram, everyone. Just to recap where we were last week, the discussion was around Purusha and Prakriti, the masculine aspect, which is Purusha, and Prakriti, which is the feminine aspect. And I think at the end of the discussion, we were talking about the timelessness, the eternal presence of both Purusha and Prakriti. Both are timeless. There's no beginning for both. And I guess there's no end also. That's what was being discussed, because Swami has introduced those concepts so that we get a better understanding. And I think we could continue from that point onwards. Sai Ram, Sister Kalyani, we could.
Bhakta. Then this samsara, birth-death cycle, too should be beginningless, isn't it, Swami? It resulted from the union of the two. Swami. That union is a result of delusion. Prompted by delusion, it produces delusion again. That is the law of the seed and the tree. Bhakta. Union means what, Swami? What is the condition? Swami. The reflection of the Purusha in the gunas, which evolve from Prakriti. That is union. Listen, just an example. The sun is not water, neither is water sun. Still by their juxtaposition, reflection is produced. The image has a characteristic neither of the sun nor of water, nor can it be said that it is devoid of these. When the water is agitated, the image too gets agitated. The image also shines a little. Again, the magnet is distinct from the iron, but when the two are brought near, the magnet affects the iron and makes it similar to itself. This is a relationship called samyoga, or union.
Thank you very much, Sister. Swami is going on to explain what is samsara. The samsara is the coming together of the Purusha and the Prakriti, or the interconnectedness of the Prakriti. But during this, there is also that union, Swami says, is the result of delusion. As we can see, prompted by delusion, it produces delusion again. That's what Swami says. So when there's no interaction between the Purusha and the Prakriti, or we don't connect it and are deluded by that, they exist separately. But when we bring some linkage, then there is samsara, or an experience which each of us experience. That's what Swami is telling. There was a question posed by someone, so I in between after the last 30 seconds, so I thought I will share that as well. So an example I could give, I think Swami has given at other points in time. For example, we are deep asleep. Like yesterday at the night, all of us went to sleep and we were asleep. When we were asleep, we were not aware of anything. The world exists. Does the world exist? The world existed. Did we exist till we also existed? But were there any interaction? Absolutely not. Because in deep sleep, we are not aware of even the world. So the world exists. We are sleeping without any cares, any worries, any thoughts. We were asleep. But then we wake up. We open our eyes and look at the world. And right then and there, there's a relationship created. And then we remember all sorts of things which the mind concords. And then, even the same things which others may look at, each of us will have a very unique perception, which is nothing but a delusion. Oh, this is mine, that is not mine. All these thoughts did not exist. Even the house in which we are living, now we will say, oh, this is my house, or this is where we live, and that's somebody else's house. All these thoughts come in as soon as the senses perceive the object. So that becomes the samsara. But then when we go back to sleep again tomorrow, all this comes to an end. That samsara comes to an end. The world exists as is. We also will exist as is. But our own projections of our own mental imagery, and perceptions and the emotions which surround it, all will vanish when we go to sleep. So Swami is saying, so when there's a connection, when we perceive this Prakriti through a certain delusory eyes, we create the samsara or our existence. And that's what we are caught in. So I will stop here. That was something which I discussed with someone. So, but I will ask the participants to share your thoughts, please, Saira.
Right, I think you did just explain this, but if you could explain again, where Swami is saying that union is the result of delusion. Prompted by delusion, it produces delusion again. So what is the first delusion and what's that second delusion?
Okay. I think, it relates to one of the, I remember the last time when we discussed, but Sitaram read something in the Telugu Vahini and he said, which is not translated in the English, which is the Atman by itself is seed. It does not become everything. Okay. But the tree is a result of that seed coming into contact with the earth. Okay. As soon as it comes into contact with the earth, then the tree is born. Okay, so the thing is, the seed exists as nothing. If you keep a seed without it touching the earth and water, it will not germinate, it will not become a tree. However, you put the seed in the soil, it becomes a tree. So was the tree in the seed? Yes, it was in the seed. But Swami will say, but the tree is it is a result of it coming into contact with us. The same way, when we sleep, we are a seed. But when we wake up and we are in touch with the world, we create this imaginary world, in which we live. The world is going on its own. But then we create relationships, we create emotions based on certain things. And then that becomes samsara, that becomes attachment, aversion. All this comes as a result of certain delusory look. Because when we wake up and look at the world, when we look through the eyes of delusion, all these will create. But if you don't look at the through eye of delusion at the world will exist without any qualities, either good, bad, beauty, ugly, nothing, because we have already worn a lens. The lens which we wear is delusion. But through that lens, when we look at it, things magnify. For example, somebody said something. Okay. Then, we will attach some feel into it, then we will think about it, then we will imagine all sorts of things. And then that is samsara. After all, that is samsara. Our experience of joy and sorrow, all these are based on, we perceive something and then we imagine. Whereas Swami says a jnani, when he looks at it as prakriti. He does not have any qualifications of what he observes. So the first delusion is how we look at the world. Because we ourselves are deluded because we think we are the body. As soon as that delusion comes, this entire world is a delusion. So that ignorance that we are the body is a delusion. And once that delusion comes, everything you see is related to that delusion. And somebody else, if I may feel something about somebody else will say, no, that is your imagining. That's not the fact. Because that is the other. Two of us may have different delusions and we will argue with each other. But the jnani, for him is prakriti, that is the way of prakriti, and he is not affected. He does not attach any qualifications of good, bad, right, wrong, beauty, ugly. But as long as we are caught in the delusion, we have to follow certain things so that we maintain our own peace of mind. I hope that clarifies, but I will leave that. Sahira. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please? Please go ahead.
And that really clarified it, like what the first delusion is, the delusion that we are the body, and then based on that, everything else we see is a delusion. But if I could just ask one more clarification about the metaphor with the tree. So the seed is like the Atma, and the tree is, I guess, Prakriti. And so the soil represents what in that case?
So, okay, so I think I would like to clarify. I think Brother Sivadas last time talked about the concept of Ishvara, or Brother Vimaleshan, because talked about the concept of Ishvara. When God is unmanifest, there are no qualities, nothing. But when the initial creation happens, there's Purusha and Prakriti. There's two concepts. The Purusha at that point in time is taking on certain attributes, if you want to say, in a seed form. So, for example, when we are born, then the Prakriti is the soil.
Oh,
okay. The Purusha is the seed, Prakriti is the soil. So, for example, if we look at ourselves, I am going to sleep. Though I am the Atman, I'm in a seed form. That means the seed also contains what are called vasanas, tendencies. Okay, it is in a seed form. Even though I am not aware, when I am sleeping, I am not aware what type of tendencies I have. But as soon as I am awake, I look at the world, those tendencies come up and they create this universe. So the thing is, Swami also in another discourse, Swami has told, the seed has to be fried in the fire of jnana, wisdom. Once you roast this seed, the vasanas are all burnt. After that, you put it in the soil, it will not grow. So all of our sadhana is actually frying, frying or roasting the seed in the fire of wisdom. Through that is what this discrimination, vairagyam, and all that. All sadhana is addressed in removing these vasanas, which make the seed sprout when it's planted in the soil. Okay, so by removing all of our vasanas, tendencies, thoughts, we remove the ability to create this illusion. Such a seed, you put it in the soil, it will remain a seed, it will not grow. Okay, so I have sort of extended it, but because you asked the question, I thought I will mention it. Okay, Saira.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is what Swami is talking the reflection of the Purusha in the gunas. The gunas are in us as vasanas or tendencies. Okay. So I think shall we move on? I mean, there's no one speaking. I guess it's a very dry subject. So we can move on silence.
Bhakta, of these, which is the real Purusha and which is the active Purusha? Tell me. Swami, did I not speak of the sun and the image? The image Purusha is the doer, the enjoyer, the experiencer. The original, the Bimba, is unaffected. He is the non-doer, the non-experiencer. The image Purusha is known therefore as Vyavaharika Purusha or Girihita, the acceptor. The Bimba is the true, the eternal, the real, the Atma Swarupa. The Grihita is the knower, and by that act of knowing, he has undergone modification. Bhakta. Right, Swami, wonderful. How many books one should have conned in order to know all this? And even then, to grasp the meaning is so hard. I have now known that Purusha is not in the world, that all this is merely a drama. Paramatma being the one Purusha. To attain him, everything in Prakriti is striving. This is probably what is spoken of as Shiva Shakti. Fine, fine.
Thank you very much, sister. So the bhakta, the devotee is asking this question, who is the real Purusha, who is the imagined Purusha, the unreal one. So Swami clearly says that the unreal one is what is reflected in this world, because it is conditioned by the qualities. It is not real. So I can sort of we use this tree analogy. I mean, that's what appealed to me. So I will talk about it, and others can share your thoughts. So when we take a seed, we plant it in the soil, a tree comes up. When a tree is there, where is the seed? Is the question. And the seed has become the tree. Where's the seed? We really can't see a seed. If you put a young plant and it's grown, we really can't see the seed. So where's the seed? Has the seed become the tree? It's a big question. Is the seed the tree? It is not the tree. The seed is not the tree, but the tree came from the seed. So the seed is a real one. So then we can ask, so where is the seed in the tree? That's the seed. So then we see what happens in a tree. The tree flowers. Then the raw fruit comes up. Then it becomes a fruit. And inside the fruit, there's a seed. In every fruit which comes out, there's a seed. So we can even wonder, where was the seed? Did this tree produce a seed, or was the seed there and it just manifested itself? So the thing is, that seed is unaffected by the tree. Somehow it materializes itself. So same way Swami also would say that the Atman is the cause of our own existence, and the Atman is within us. And we can search for that Atman everywhere, but we may not find it. But then he says we have to develop, mature into a flower, a fruit, and then we'll find the seed. Swami will say the mind is the fruit, the heart is the flower, and the Atman is within that, and we can find that. And so that's, I thought I was reminded of that. So the seed is reflected in the tree, but the seed is the real one. So just the way Purusha is reflected in the water as an image, And the image is what we are all so caught up with. But he will say, look at the sun, learn to look at the sun, still the water and look at the sun. Okay, that's, I thought I will just share that. I will just let anyone else share their thoughts, please, Saira.
So, Sairam brother. So here the Bimba, so we can compare to Atma, that is Sat Sit Anand. Sat means a permanent, other one is Sat Sit, it's a knowledge or jnana, or then the other one is Sat Sit Ananda. So that is permanent. So our Atma is permanent. So Bimba is permanent. So other ones all is not, it can be modified. So we have to, so that's the same thing with Atma, we all came as a divine sparkle. So we have to understand that one. Once you understand that one, we can achieve the goal. Thank you, Sairam brother.
Thank you very much, brothers. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please?
Sairam, the word Bimba, what language is it a Telugu language or normally in Tamil when we call Bimbam, originally I thought, maybe that's kind of language, but when I connect with the context of this one, this seems to be the original. I was wondering, that it's a Telugu language, the Bimba, or it's a Sanskrit language, or what language is that Bimba?
So Sairam sister, Bimba is a Sanskrit word. So the Bimba and the reflection is called Pratibimba.
Okay, Pratibimba. Normally, when we call that is Pratibimba. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Sairam, yeah, as sister said, even I was a little bit, I was thinking about that in Tamil. Usually when we say bimbam as a shadow or reflection or something like that, but as Brother Arno explained, that's the Sanskrit original, means original. And also I just thought of pointing out this, as Brother Arno earlier explaining the deep sleep state, and then when we wake up, the vasanas come back, and we create the associations and imaginations and all that. So that's why it's said always that sleep is like that, and waking up is like taking a birth again. And so that every day we can consider that way is a new opportunity for our sadhana to get rid of our vasanas. So it's a good, during the daytime, we get entangled in so many emotions and imaginations, and what, as Brother Aruno explained. So that's during sleep, it all we go back to our seed state. So every new day we can consider as a new birth and new opportunity for our sadhana to continue. I just thought of Sairam.
Sairam, brother, thank you. Talking about this Bimba, Pratibimba, because we think the Bimba is the look at the Pratibimba and think it's Bimba. That is the delusion. So I think even the language has undergone a lot of modifications over time and understanding. Even if you look at the Sanskrit dictionary, you will find all sorts of meanings for Bimba, including a reflection also. So that is because in usage, things have sort of got changed over a period of time, but Bimba is the original object. Bimba also can mean a circular object and so on. So there are many meanings to the Bimba, but here Swami has used it as the original object, and the reflection is. And I think just to talk about what Brother Vimalesan said, we go to sleep and we wake up. But there's also, we should understand that Swami has says that between two breaths, actually we are dying and we are born. He says every exhalation is death. Every inhalation is birth. So exhalation and inhalation, that's why we watch, because Swami says when you take first breath, you are born. If you take the last breath, you leave the breath out, you are gone. The thing is, same thing is happening actually every day when we awake. But so the entire part of meditation is to see that there's within that gap of inhalation and exhalation, the reality exists apparently. That is the gap between two thoughts. But we don't even, because we are continuously thinking and we are only paying attention to the thought, we are not paying attention to the gaps between the thoughts. I don't know, you may have seen this optical illusion thing, so if you keep on switching something back and forth, you really don't know whether, even if it's not moving, you see something is moving, even though there's a gap. Like if you watch a film, they say each frame passes quickly, but between that passing, there's a fraction of a second, there's blank screen, but we don't observe that because we are so caught up in looking at the images which go. But if a well-trained person apparently can see the screen only and ignore the images. So that is something which I thought I would just share.
Sairam, yeah, as Brother Arno said, so that's why they always say the bread is the cross form of the mind. So thought. So as if we, as Brother explained, the gap between inhalation and exhalation, like so, there's a gap between two thoughts, and if we can train ourselves to become aware of that might help to get to our reality from the delusion or things like this. Sairam.
Sairam, brother, thank you.
So, Sairam, brother, so once we understand the clear understanding of delusion and the Maya, so in a dream, so for an example, I'm coming to Brother Arno's house and he's giving me a cup of coffee. I'm enjoying the coffee and the taste is so good. Once I woke up, so this is a delusion. Same thing when you are when you are normal time, then you are drinking the coffee, same taste. But when you're in the deep sleep, so what is permanent? Atma is the permanent. So you have to, once you understand the three stage, what is the permanent? So that is one of the example also we studied before. That's all, Brother Sairam.
Sairam, brother, I think that itself is delusion, as you have never come here and I have never served you coffee. but
Right.
So that never happened.
Yeah,
but it's still there.
it's a good example for delusion. Yeah, imagination.
Thank you, Sairam. No, brother has come, but he has not come in and had coffee. So that's
That's right, Sairam, brother.
I don't say.
In relation to this, I would like to point out this also. Brother Arun has been explaining all this, so I just thought. So now we can think about that also. That in waking state, everyone's experience is totally different, unique. In dream, same thing, but sleep is just one experience for everyone. There's no difference in the deep sleep with individuals or any living being. So that I just thought of. It's good to think of that also. Sairam.
Sairam, brothers. Thank you. Thank you.
I just have a question about the sun and the image. So the sun is like the Atma, and here Swami saying the image is like the image Purusha. So is that Prakriti, or is that something else like the Ishvara, or what is the image Purusha?
The image Purusha is the Jivatma. Okay, so actually the reflection is Jivatma in the Prakriti. So when which is an imagined one, it's a delusory one. Okay, rather than looking at the real image as seeing the sun and knowing that the water is just water, and even when the image is seen, you are only seeing the image clearly when the Prakriti is all balanced. So, see, one of the reasons we are unable to see the reflection of the sun clearly is because the gunas are continuously moving. So, when that is moving, the image which we see in the water is not steady, it's not clear, it looks as if the sun itself is moving. That such imagination. But the jnani will see the reflection and know that that is just a reflection. That's not the real thing, so that is the ultimate, because as long as there is water and there is sun, there is going to be image. So even when we walk around among people, different people, that's why seeing the divinity in people is a challenge, because how can we love them, how can we see divinity in others, so God in others is a big challenge for all of us. It's a challenge because not because something is wrong with the other person, Swami would say. Once we bring the gunas under balance, or samatvam, as Swami would say, an equanimal state, we will not be troubled by it. By the play of the gunas in the world, we will not be troubled. We will not think that is real. That I don't know whether I went off in a tangent, but I thought I will explain, because we have a concept of ourselves. So let's forget the world. See, we have a concept of who we are. I think that's what matters here. So we think we are this person, this body. Okay, this is what is the image Purusha. Okay, because we have put on all these attributes on ourselves, and we are deluding that we are the Purusha. We are not the real Purusha. Real Purusha is Atman. Okay, so the work is for us to do and come to understanding that we are the Purusha. We are not the body. We are not whatever we imagine ourselves to be. When we succeed in that, in seeing that divinity within us, then when we look at the world will not bother us. Ultimately, so the image Purusha is who we think we are, is the image Purusha. Okay, that is my understanding, but others can share.
So Sairam, brother, whatever you explain is a good point, that three gunas also like a Maya. Once you union with Paramatma, so God doesn't have gunas. So it's merged with that one. Thank you, brother.
Sairam, brother Arno, I have a question. The reflection of the Purushas in the gunas, which evolve from the Prakriti, So where did these gunas come in? We are talking about Purusha and Prakriti. Where is this guna kick in here? Thank you, Saira.
So I think someone else can, if I am doing too much talking. Anyone else would like to comment?
Okay, I would like to say,
Okay.
Sometimes they call these three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, as forces, force. So the Prakriti has these three forces. So the three forces, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, is synonym with Prakriti. There's no difference between Prakriti and gunas. Gunas are Prakriti, Prakriti are gunas, but the Prakriti consists of these three gunas. So Brother Arul is thinking that there are three entities: Atma, Prakriti, and gunas. That's a real doubt actually. There is no separation between three gunas and Prakriti. Prakriti is working as three forces. So when all these three forces of the Prakriti is in equilibrium, the reflection of the Atma is steady, as brother explained, is steady. Then then we don't feel agitated in the world. So we feel, as brother explained, we feel agitated and disturbed because the three forces of the Prakriti are not in equilibrium, different percentages. So we have to bring the tamas force up and the rajas force down so that there is an equilibrium which is sattva. So it could be done through sadhana only. So as we progress in sadhana, we are bringing all these imbalances to balance, and we get less agitated in the world. And I think according to Dhyana Vahini, through meditation we can bring this equilibrium. I think the original Arul's question was answered, I think, because there's no difference between three gunas and Prakriti. Only Prakriti and Atman, Purusha. Purusha and Prakriti are the two eternal entities according to up to now. Yeah. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. I hope,
Sairam,
yes.
So how did this reflecting in different personality differences? I understand Rasida's your explanation. Thank you very much. But why this is reflecting in different personality in different people? Prakriti, Purusha is real one. That's fine. The Prakriti is also fine. That's fine. You are saying it is the three forces attributed towards the Prakriti but my question is why this is reflecting in different different kind of steps, like someone is a rajasic nature. Why is this in this world? Because all these problems in this world is because of these gunas attributed towards this. Otherwise there won't be any problem. Everybody has the same quality, everybody accepts as it is, then there won't be a problem in this world. Because of these gunas, all these different things, we are looking at other person in a different manner, kind of thing. That is because of these gunas. Then why? That is my question. Thank you, Sai.
Okay, thank you, Sairam. Actually, we are carrying these impressions from previous births, innumerable previous births, and that impression is in our chitta. In our chitta. So now we have brought that in different proportion by birth, from the taking from the previous birth. Now it is our turn now to change this imbalance to balance. That is why the first and foremost thing is our food. The food through mouth and food through senses, the tamas and the rajas could be balanced. So it is depends on us now how to bring the balance. So it's a spiritual sadhana. So that's what a child who is recently born, maybe angry mood, always angry mood, and some child may be a passive mood because they brought these vasanas from the previous births. So these are the three things that we are bringing from previous births, and that is the reason for that. So it is through sadhana we can bring the balance and reach our goal. Thank you,
Brother,
sir.
yeah, brother. In addition to Brother Sivadas what said, it's like the gunas. It's because of the law of karma and varnas too. Am I correct?
Yeah. Karma,
That plays the gunas thing. So the law of karma and varnas already, as Krishna said, everyone comes with that. That's the Prakriti's nature. That's how I look at it. Thank you, Sairam.
Yeah.
So, Sairam brother, it's a very good questions whatever Arul asked and very good explanations even by Sivadas too, Brother Sivadas too. Gunas all very different for each one because of whatever the vasana they carry, whatever the previous birth they are, or whatever they are bringing to this birth, and whatever the accent and the knowledge and the wisdom, all different for each person. That is the reason I think, or also one of the reason everyone is different in the gunas too. Thank you, brother Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. So Brother Sitaram has posted a message where he says it's all because of ajnana, ignorance. So I'm reminded of this story. I think all of you may know this blind man who went to see the elephants. So the ajnana, or the lack of knowledge, or with inability to see the thing in full, is the problem, which I think is diverse. Each of us may, it's like the blind man. One person looks at the tail and thinks that is elephant. Someone feels the ear and say that is elephant. So the same way, we are also looking at this Prakriti through different lenses, which are actually clouded. So our vision is not very clear. And I think that is the cause, brother. That is why this divergence, so many differences. So the sadhana generally would clear the confusion and be able to see. And even then, even if there's a play of gunas in this world, we will understand it as, oh, this is the way the Prakriti is. It is not the Atman. So we will separate, we will look at them separately. It is like watching, if somebody went to a movie and is watching. When you're watching, sometimes you may get engrossed in the movie, and people may cry or laugh or do whatever. But when we walk out, we know it was a story. It was just a film. But after a while, even when you're sitting through the movie, you know, okay, this is just a movie. I'm just entertaining myself. And sometimes maybe even disinterest in the movie. There are people who go to sleep, I guess, in the movie theater. So it's a different level of engagement. Ultimately, if the mind engages itself with the gunas, then it gets deluded. If the mind is not engaged with the guna, the mind or the world, if it engages itself only with the buddhi, knowing this is right, this is permanent, once it's at functions like that, then there's no delusion. The whole thing is all sadhana is just to turn the mind towards buddhi, which can always discriminate what is permanent, what is impermanent, what is what is the real thing. And then, even though the gunas are playing. There's always a play of gunas in this world around us. Even if we still ourselves in the prakriti which we see, the gunas will be working, but we will not be affected because we will know prakriti as prakriti and purusha as purusha. That's my understanding. So I thought I would just share that as well.
Sairam, one more clarification on this subject. The Girikita, in this Swami's answer for the Bhakta's question, it's indicated Kirigita can be an acceptor also as the knower. My common understanding, I thought the true Purusha, the Bimba is the knower, and maybe the image Purusha is always, maybe it could be acceptor. But in the very last sentence, it's stated as Girikita is the knower, and by that act of knowing, he has undergone modification. If Girikita is the real knower, how can he can undergo modification? I know if it is the image Purusha, that image Purusha, that's all of us are image Purusha, we can undergo the modification. But in this maybe context, can the Girikita can be the acceptor and also as the knower? That sort of question, it popped up in my mind. Maybe in this context, the knower is it's a different meaning, or my understanding also it could be different, or it could be wrong too. Thank you, Sairam.
Sister Sairam. Anyone would like to comment on that, please?
Yes, Sairam. Obviously, I think I understand Sister's question, but here, as she mentioned finally, knower as a specific meaning, it doesn't mean the Purusha, ultimate Purusha, Atma, whatever. So here, because it's obviously the image Purusha, Vyavakarika Purusha, Grihita, knower, all mean the Jivatma. That's what my understanding. I don't know, can clarify.
Yeah, that is true. The knower, actually, Ananti's doubt is reasonable, but here the knower means experiencer. The person who experiences anything is the knower here. So that is only the image. Image means the Atman reflected in Buddhi. So next to Atman is Buddhi, which is the Prakriti. The finest part of Prakriti is Buddhi. So it is next to Atman. So it gets the reflection. The effulgence is reflected in Buddhi. So the Buddhi and the rest of the bodies are the image Purusha. So only that Buddhi is the knowing part. It is the intellect part. It can only discriminate, but Atman is beyond knowing. Beyond knowing, it is, we don't know yet because we have not experienced Atman. But the Atman is beyond the knowing and the unknowing, the ignorance and the knowledge. He is beyond the ignorance and the knowledge. So yeah, because in different places people are using different terminology, so the doubt is correct. But as Brother Violasan said, here the knower means experiencer. So experiencer is Jivatma. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, and I would like to add that we can recall back in the last study cycle, last Saturday, Brother Aruno mentioned that, and there was, the Purusha doesn't have even, he is beyond Dharma even. He is not, so he, so that is, So Purusha is beyond all that. So knower, experience, as Brother Sivadas said, is the Jivatma. So we should not think of the word knower as in connection to Atma or Purusha. Saira.
So, Saira, I'm sorry. If once we Bimba, that image is a permanent one. It's a krikarita. So once the water is shake, that image also going to be shake. It's not permanent. So so whatever the prakriti, all undergo modification except the Atma. Thank you, Brother Saira.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, that sometimes the translation can be a bit confusing. So I'm just going to read the Telugu piece and then we can discuss. Bimba Purushunake Satyamaina Nityamaina Atma Rupudagu Yathartha Purushudani Peru. Swami is calling the Bimba Purusha. Okay, Swami is now has differentiated between Pratibimba Purusha, which is the image Purusha, and Bimba Purusha. Bimba Purusha is the original Purusha. He is Satyam, truth, Nityam, eternal, Purusha. Yathartha means the real Purusha. Then Swami goes on to say, Grahita Vikariyagu Jnata Ani Telisi Konavalan. Means the image Purusha is actually his knowledge is vikaram. It means it's modified by his observing this world. That jnata is the Bimba Purusha. So the same person, the original Purusha is he is not affected. Is true, but this Bimba Purusha is one who tries to know, which is through that this knowing the Prakriti is modified. That is we have to understand. That's what Swami is saying. So this act of knowing is not the real jnana. Yeah. This is just perceiving the world through a modified process, through delusion that creates this image Purusha. That's what I understand. I don't know, Sitaram, if you can.
Sairam, I think let's make it even more clear. And also, I think it's very apt to think of the famous imagery of the two birds on the tree. I think Sairam.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. It's very clear to me right now. This Noah is actually the in plain language is the Jivatma. Thank you so much. All explanation from different brothers. Thank you, Saira.
I sort of like the last line, where the Bhakta is telling, to attain him, everything in Prakriti is striving. This is probably what is spoken of as Shiva Shakti. So in this world, everyone, all of us, are equally striving to attain that state of equilibrium and to know ourselves. We may, go through different paths or whatever, different routes. Each one is so unique. But all of us are ultimately striving because we are, the Atman is within each one of us. The path is so unique. That's what I understand. Saira. We could proceed, Sister Kalyani, if it's.
Swami, you are right. It is also referred to as Jiva Brahma union. Everyone must strive for this union. The Jiva cannot exist alone. Moksha sadhana has to be done willy-nilly by every living thing. Without it, there can be no peace. Bhakta, what does moksha mean exactly, Swami? And what is mukti? Swami, both mean the same. That which is burdened with the manas is the jivi. When the manas and the nama and rupa, which it spins from out of its substance, are destroyed, then the jivi attains moksha. Then it becomes one with Brahman. That is moksha. When the Ganga or the Godavari reach the sea, their separate names, forms, tastes, and limits all disappear, and they acquire the name, form, taste, and limit of the sea itself.
Sai Ram, I think Swami is nice. So in Vedanta, there are three concepts. Swami always goes and refers to that: the Jiva, Brahma or Ishvara, and Prakriti. The entire existence is the permutation and combination of these three. The Jiva, the Jiva who is in the middle, the image Purusha, if it's turns towards the Prakriti, Jagat, then it is bound. When it's turned towards the Atman, Brahman or Ishvara, then it is released. Swami always says the mind is the key. You turn it towards the world, you're locked. You turn towards the Lord, and the lock opens. So it is just that's the sadhana, which is turning the mind from the Prakriti towards the Purusha. That's what I could understand, and I think that's the sadhana which Swami wants us to work on. So I will, with those words, I will stop. Anyone would like to share, please go on.
So Sairam brother, I really enjoyed this paragraph. The reason is Swami talking about the rivers, how the rivers originated from the ocean. When it's separated from the ocean, it has a different name, rupa and taste and everything. But then once it forms as a river, is going towards the ocean to merge with it. Once you merge with it, it takes same name, rupa and taste of the ocean. Same thing. We all are divine sparkles. We have to understand, we have to merge with the God. So we have to, whatever Brother Aruna said, we have to do the sadhana to achieve the God. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, brother, Sai Ram.
Yes. Sai Ram, yeah, I would like to draw attention to the line, the Jiva cannot exist alone. So the Jiva, either it has to incline towards Prakriti to get fully enmeshed in Prakriti, or it has to incline towards Atma to know its unreality or limit. So the Jiva can exist alone. So there's a thirst in Jivas to reach the highest. So that is a very beautiful. Swami said it cannot exist alone. It has to go somewhere. So that part I like to underline that. That's it, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother.
Sai Ram, I just this thought comes. So as Brother Sivadas mentioned, it's very linked to that idea. So that's why I just thought of telling this. It's in the Saiva Siddhanta philosophy, but Jiva cannot exist alone. But at the same time, I don't know, in Thiruvaruppayan, in one of the Saiva Siddhanta scriptures, it says, Jiva it gets the quality of whatever it associates. So if it associates with Prakriti, it gets that quality. If it associates with Atma, God, it gets that quality. So obviously we have to associate with God, Sai.
Yeah, that's what in Siddhanta, Tamil Saiva Siddhanta, the Sadasat word is used there to indicate the Jiva as Sadasat. So
and in Tamil, it's Sadharan Varnamana. So I don't know how to say that in English.
Satta Sattacharada Asattariyada Angan Utra Sadattam Uir. Yeah,
Right.
that's a different thing. Yeah.
So just
And
to clarify,
also when the river merges in the sea, there is no more identification of the river. No more identification. The good water or unsalty water become salty. So this also indicates the Jivan is not an entity. If the Jivan is if the Jiva, the Bimba, the Jivan, Jivatma, if a Jivatma is an entity, when it mixed in the mixed with God, it will remain as an entity. So this is actually an image. It is actually an image. It is false. It is just an imagination. It is an ignorance in the form of ignorance. So when we see through our ignorance, we attain to that our real Brahmahood, the real reality. So that point also here we can make note of it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, brother.
a question about the jiva. So can you say that the jiva is made up of both the Purusha and Prakriti? Like, is it within the jiva, is there the Atma and also Buddhi in the body? Is that all part of jiva, or is it not? Is it all Prakriti?
Sorry, this is okay. Go ahead, brother.
No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, Jivatma is totally an image. It is a reflection. It's a reflecting, like it's a mirror, which is reflecting the effulgence of the Atma. So it moves like a living being, it like a sentient being. It is moving like a sentient being because of the rays borrowed from Atman. So it is not an entity actually. So finally it understands its instableness. It is not stable. So it finally understands its instableness and get the Prakriti part or Buddhi, Manas and the body, everything get converted into absolute Prakriti. And what is only thing is the Prakriti was changing and it looks like that Atma is changing. So when the Prakriti's work is done, then what is left is Atman. So the direct answer to Kalyani's question is the Jivatma is just a reflected image of Atman. That's what we get to say. Thank you, Sairam. Brother, I don't know if you can say more.
Sairam, no, brother Sivadas, I don't know, can clarify more, but for that question, I'm just thinking that now, I don't know whether I understood the question clearly, but if that is a question whether Jivatma is made of both Atma and Prakriti, in a way we can say yes, isn't it? It's because except the Atma, the core of our being, everything else is Prakriti. But that's why Swami always addressed Divyatma Suruvalara, whatever. So can't we say it's I mean, it is Jivatma as the aspect of Atma and the Prakriti. Is that correct, Sai?
Yeah.
So, Sairam brother, according to my understanding, Jiva is a Atma. Other Prakriti or like a tool. It could be a mind or Buddhi or everything given as a tool to achieve the liberation or achieve the God. Thank you, Brother Saira.
Sairam, according to my understanding, based on my knowledge in the past and the current study circle, I also thought, I agree with other brothers, Jivatma is the miniature form of the Parabrahma. It's Brother Sivadas also indicated it's kind of reflected. The Jivatma is the reflection of the Parabrahma, that sort of understanding up until now I have about the Jivatma. Maybe Brother Aruno can clarify, whether same thing or it could be different, Thank you, Saina.
Saina, my understanding is I will agree with Kalyani. It's both. It's Jivatma. It's a combination of Purusha and Prakriti. Because in the study circle we studied that Prakriti and Purusha was created. Like there's no time. It's one. So Jivatma is both. That's my understanding. Thank you. And the mind turn towards Purusha, then you will merge with the divine. The other one is worldly thing. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, sister.
I just brother, I don't know. You go ahead just after. The about Krishna says about Mamaivaamso Jiva Loge Jiva Bhuta Sanadana. So I think that in the creation, in the Jiva, that Purusha's aspect is installed in the as a core, and the rest is Prakriti. Whatever. That's right. So it's I don't know. Please go ahead, Saira.
Yeah. So it's I think it's a very good question. I think the more we understand this, see, the analogies always break down, but we don't have any other way other than just to use some analogy to understand. See, my understanding is, for example, we get into a car and we are driving, and if we think that we are the car, then it's a problem. We won't be, we will. That's an incorrect understanding of who we are. But the thing is, we really can't help because we got used to it. So if we look at ourselves, we wear some clothes, and now we look at the mirror, and that's how we have even understood who we are. But even the clothes sort of become part of it. We would like to have the same look, because if we don't wear the same clothes, we will say no, we are not the same. So sometimes our identification with what we are, or the Prakriti in which we are enveloped, I think causes problem. But Swami would say the Atman in the Jivatman is actually the same. Okay, so I can give another analogy. For example, Swami has used the word of river and the ocean. The water from the ocean goes up as water vapor, and then it comes down as rain. But then there are many rain drops which, either they're stuck in a small pond or small, and they don't understand. They think that when they are in the pond, they will think that we are pond. That's all. They don't even understand that they are the ocean. They don't even understand any of that. They may even have different qualities of taste and smell because of the soil in which they are. Okay. Is it water? It is water. But does it have the qualities of flavor of the Prakriti in which it is attached? It is. So, but the reality is, it is water which is present there is water. Is it mixed up with the flavor of wherever in the earth it is? It is, yes. But is that its real nature? It is not. So once that water understands that, I am actually coming from the ocean, then it flows towards the river. And then the river, there are so much of water drops which have come, which are all thinking of going to the ocean. Then through that satsang, we all join force, and then we rush towards the ocean. So your question is Jivatma is Atman or Prakriti or mixture of both. It is still water, Atman, but which has deluded itself into thinking that it is something different. It is just wrong identification. Because of the wrong identification, which is what we started with, that is the initial delusion. If we think we are Jivatma, we are Prakriti is also part of us, that is because we have got mixed up into thinking Prakriti is also part of us. And that is the delusion. So once we realize that there is Purusha aspect and Prakriti aspect, we are really the Purusha, then we identify ourselves with Atma. But that process, I think, is understood. So you can say Jivatma is mixed up, a mixed up entity, which is what they have used the word Sad Asat. Sat is truth, Asat means untruth or unreal. When both of them are mixed up, that is this imaginary Maya, whatever you want to call it, that's Jiva. The Jivatma somehow thinks that it is separate from Paramatma because of the influence of the Prakriti. I hope that is my understanding. But I think each of our understanding is accurate as long as it helps us to move forward. That's what I would say. Because ultimately, our comprehension itself is Maya, an illusion. It's limited by the mind and intellect we have. So as long as it helps us to move forward, that's good enough. That's all I can say. I think there are so many different understandings. All of them are equally valid. And as long as they help us to move forward. Saira.
Thank you. It's very good. Thank you. It's very good, brother. Because everyone's statement and understanding is true. And because even Baba has spoken in different places, in different way. So each one's opinion is good and valid. And as you said, we have to progress from that understanding to know our own reality, which is God.
Sairam.
Yeah.
Sairam Kalyan, I don't know whether you're more confused or but you can pick and choose something which that's what Sairam.
That definitely helps clarifies everything, Sairam. Thank you.
I think we'll read the next slide and then maybe it's time. It's almost time, but we will read something to think over.
Until the jivas attain the end of the mind, they bear the nama, rupa, and the ruchi of delusion, minus, and I-ness. When the jiva nears the sea, these characteristics begin to disappear slowly. When the gunas, as well as the mutations of the mind, are destroyed, then one can say that union has been accomplished with Brahman. How can the Ganga, which has merged with the ocean, be sweet? If it is said that one has merged in Brahman, he should not have the three gunas, nor any taste of manas. Such full union is known as Sayutya Mukti.
Sairam. So thank you, sister. So Swami has, I think it's good that we read because Swami's answer, I guess, it comes here. So Swami is talking about how we lose and we merge. Sayujyam is complete merger with the Lord. So Swami says that merger is something which we all have to strive towards, and we have to work on the gunas and the mind. All of them have to be slowly destroyed or discarded, I would say. So then we will slowly progress towards that merger or union with the Lord, and then the Jivatma at that point realizes that it's nothing but Paramatman, as Brother Vimalesan said, Mame Vamso Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. In this world, all beings exist as my Amsha, a part of me. Understand that. And we can understand the divine part in us, and that itself will bring about that merger with the divine. So Sairam, those are my thoughts. If anyone has something to say, please do so. we can contemplate on this.
Sairam, when the jiva nears the sea, these characteristics begin to disappear slowly. So as we progress towards our sadhana, especially meditation, I think, then as we progress more and more, this disappears slowly. And at one stage, and we see that our true reality is He. Okay, thank you, Sairam.
Anyone else would like to say anything, please?
So, Sairam, brother, I like whatever you said. Everyone eager to merge with the Lord. So why we had to postpone? Maybe next life or after 3 generation, 4 generation, we have to come to the level. So if you understand now, we can work on that one now. Thank you, Sairam, brother.
Sairam, brother. Sairam. So maybe we will pause here. We will start again from here at the next study circle. I just wanted to point out that next weekend, being the Akhanda Bhajan weekend, we are planning to stream the Akhanda Bhajan from Puttaparthi. Prashant Nilayam, there will be streaming. So I expect that to start at around 7:30 next Saturday, our time. So when that starts, that will sort of conflict with the study circle timing. So I hope all of you will understand that listening to the Akhanda Bhajan and taking part, because it becomes a global event. This is the first time around the world people will be participating in the same bhajans at the same time when it's being sung in Puttaparthi. It's a new phenomenon, I should say. So because of that, next Saturday we will not have the regular study circle, but the following weekend, 21st, we will again meet to continue this. So we have 2 weeks to contemplate on this. How do we merge? And hopefully the next Saturday it will be a practical lesson in merging with the Lord by listening to the Akhanda Bhajan and think of the Lord. That is our rushing towards the ocean.
Sairam, brother, November 15th, not 21st.
So the next weekend is 15th. We will not have.
No, 14th we don't have it. 15th we will have.
Sorry, sir. Yeah, but I'm talking about this study circle, sister.
Yeah. Okay.
The Sandeha Nivarini will be continuing from the 21st. I hope I am okay. I don't want to confuse the study circle because there are members who come for this. So the next Sandeha Nivarini study circle will take place on the 21st of November. Okay. But we will not have the study circle on the 14th. We will not have the Saturday session. Okay. The Sunday session we will discuss tomorrow. Okay, because I don't want to confuse too much. Okay, Sai Ram, everyone. Thank you very much. We'll close with Samasta Loka and Shanti Shanti. Sai. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.
Sairam. Thank you.
Sairam.
Sairam.
Sairam.